Ever since Cassie came forward in November 2023, the world hasn't stopped buzzing. What started as a single lawsuit against music mogul Sean "Diddy" Combs exploded into a storm of accusations, arrests, and courtroom drama. There's been so much flying around that it's hard to keep up. Who said what, which claims are real, and how deep all this really goes. So today, we're unpacking everything: the lawsuits, the shocking charges, and the man behind it all. But first, let's rewind. Who exactly is Diddy? If you only know him as a flashy celebrity with wild parties and designer suits, here's what you might have missed. Back in the 90s, Sean Combs started out as a young intern at Uptown Records. He got fired. But instead of giving up, he went and launched his own label, Bad Boy Records. That's where he signed the legend himself, Notorious B.I.G. And that move alone changed everything. But Diddy didn't stop there. He also signed stars like Faith Evans and put together a dream team of producers called the Hitmen. These guys worked with everyone: Usher, TLC, Mariah Carey, even Aretha Franklin. Then came his own music. Diddy went from behind the scenes to center stage. His first single stayed on the Billboard Hot 100 for over 6 months, and when his debut album dropped, it sold over 500,000 copies in 1 week. Basically, Diddy wasn't just big. He was a music industry machine, a producer, an artist, a businessman. He even struck gold with his deal with Ciroc Vodka, helping build the brand in exchange for a reported 50% cut of the profits. He wasn't just rich, he was billionaire rich. And with money came power, awards, Grammy wins, a Guinness World Record. He helped shape careers. Biggie, Mary J. Blige, Usher, all connected to his empire. But the story doesn't stop at fame and success. Because behind the glitz, Diddy's name has also been linked to some pretty serious controversy. Let's talk receipts. Back in '99, Nas's manager sued Diddy for allegedly attacking him. They settled for $500,000. Then, in 2003, Diddy's fashion label, Sean John, was called out for sweatshop conditions in Honduras. We're talking locked bathrooms, long hours, and barely any pay. By 2007, another lawsuit. This time for allegedly punching a guy at a nightclub. And then there are the rumors. The ones that keep popping up again and again. Like the one where Diddy supposedly had Kid Cudi's car blown up. Kid Cudi's team didn't deny it. They said it was true. Oh, and let's not forget the theories linking Diddy to the deaths of Tupac and Biggie. There's even a claim from a murder suspect that Diddy ordered the hit on Tupac and Suge Knight. Even Eminem got in on the speculation, rapping, "The day you put out a hit's the day Diddy admits he put the hit out that got Pac killed." In 2010, another lawsuit came in. This time, from his own personal chef, accusing him of sexual harassment. That case got quietly settled. So, yeah, there's been a cloud over Diddy for a while now, but nothing hit like what Cassie dropped in late 2023. Cassie Ventura, singer, model, and Diddy's ex, filed a lawsuit that broke the internet. She said she had stayed quiet for years, but now she was ready to speak, not just for herself, but for all women who've lived through abuse and violence. Cassie first met Diddy in 2005. She was just 19. He was around 36. A year later, she signed to his label. But it wasn't just any deal. It was a 10-album contract, basically locking her into Diddy's world. He didn't just control her music. He paid for her car, her clothes, her apartment. He even had access to her medical records. In the lawsuit, she claimed things got dark really fast. Diddy allegedly gave her drugs to make her more compliant, assaulted her multiple times a year, and forced her into disturbing situations, including being filmed during sexual encounters with other men. That's the side of Diddy the world didn't see. The side, she says, was carefully hidden behind luxury, charm, and billion-dollar business deals. What Cassie described in her lawsuit is absolutely horrifying. She claimed that during their relationship, Diddy forced her to have sex with other men while he watched and recorded it. It wasn't just once. She says it went on for years, and each time it left her feeling even more trapped. One of the darkest moments? She says he physically assaulted her in a hotel in 2016. and then paid the hotel $50,000 to get rid of the footage. But the trauma didn't end there. By 2018, when their relationship was falling apart, she says Diddy broke into her apartment and forced himself on her. And it gets even more disturbing. In one of the wildest claims in the lawsuit, she says Diddy once dangled one of her friends off a 17th floor balcony. And remember that story about Kid Cudi's car getting blown up? Yeah, that's in the lawsuit too. And Cudi's team confirmed it actually happened. Now, Diddy's lawyer tried to spin it all. He said Cassie was just trying to extort $30 million from Diddy and called the whole thing a setup. But Cassie's lawyer fired back with something even more explosive. Diddy tried to pay her off with an 8-figure settlement, and she said no. And here's the kicker. The very next day after she filed the lawsuit, it was quietly settled behind closed doors. We don't know how much she got, if anything. Both sides released short, smiley statements saying they wanted a peaceful resolution. But to everyone watching, it was clear. Diddy wanted this gone. According to a report in the New York Times, Diddy likely settled to avoid legal discovery, which means no public trial, no evidence coming out, no witnesses, no headlines. Just silence. Cassie, too, probably didn't want to relive that trauma all over again in court, but what she did do was open the floodgates. Because only 5 days after her lawsuit, another one dropped. This time, a former college student from Syracuse University said that back in 1991, Diddy drugged and assaulted her. And not just that. She said he filmed it, then showed the video to others as some kind of sick revenge. And then came another case. A woman accused both Diddy and R&B singer Aaron Hall of arcing her and her friend. She says after the attack, Diddy showed up to her home, got violent, and even choked her until she passed out. Diddy's team called the allegations false, made up, and just another attempt to grab money. They claimed the incidents were too old to be proven and that Diddy was being targeted because of his fame. But the lawsuits kept coming. By December 6th, a new one landed. This time from a woman who said she was just 17 years old when she was flown to New York on a private jet, drugged, and then gang assaulted by Diddy, his associate Harvey Pierre, and another unnamed person. She even brought pictures to back up her claims. And while Diddy stayed silent through most of this, in December he finally posted on Instagram, "Enough is enough. For the last few weeks, I've watched people try to destroy my name and legacy with sickening lies. I didn't do any of this. I'm going to fight back." But if Diddy thought his statement would calm the storm, he was wrong. In February, producer Lil Rod filed a massive $30 million lawsuit of his own. And this one shook things even more. Lil Rod, who worked on Diddy's Love album in 2023, says he was harassed, threatened, and abused for more than a year. He named names too, a lot of them. According to the lawsuit, Diddy wasn't acting alone. The case mentioned some of the biggest players in music. Diddy's son, Justin Combs, Universal Music Group CEO, Lucian Grange, Ethiopia Habtemariam, former head of Motown, and even entire companies like Love Records and Chalice Recording Studios. Now, to be fair, Lucian Grange and UMG were later removed from the lawsuit, but the rest? Still there. Lil Rod says he lived with Diddy for months, including long stays on a luxury yacht, and during that time he witnessed things that he says would ruin lives if made public. He claims he was groped by Diddy repeatedly and forced to endure a toxic, dangerous environment full of intimidation and criminal activity. When Rodney, aka Lil Rod, raised concerns about what he was witnessing, he says Diddy's own chief of staff brushed it off with a chilling line, "You know, Sean will be Sean." Like this was normal. Rodney didn't stop there. He also claimed that someone close to rapper Young Miami, a cousin or assistant, sexually assaulted him. He said Oscar winner Cuba Gooding Jr. harassed him too. And here's where things got even crazier. He said he had video evidence of famous rappers and R&B singers with underage girls and sex workers. And according to Rodney, that's why no one has dared to speak up for so long. He claimed Diddy keeps a vault of blackmail material, footage from private parties, wild nights, and worse, all to make sure everyone stays silent. Now, Diddy's lawyer dismissed it all as ridiculous name-dropping and pure fiction. But that didn't stop what came next. 2 of Diddy's homes, including his mansion in Los Angeles and another in Miami, were raided by Homeland Security. Federal agents swarmed the properties. His sons, Justin and Christian, were even seen in handcuffs as the raids took place. The feds stayed tight-lipped, only confirming that these were part of a larger ongoing investigation. But the message was loud and clear. This wasn't just about lawsuits anymore. Diddy was under serious federal investigation. Then came the moment no one could deny. CNN got their hands on a security video from the 2016 hotel incident, the one Cassie had mentioned. The footage showed Diddy violently attacking her. It went viral in seconds. Diddy finally broke his silence. He didn't deny it. Instead, he released a video saying, "It's hard to face the darkest moments of your life, but I have to. I hit rock bottom. I make no excuses. What I did in that video is inexcusable. I'm disgusted with myself. I'm so sorry." It was emotional. It was raw. But many didn't buy it. Because just days later, the accusations kept piling up. On May 22nd, a former model came forward with her own lawsuit saying Diddy drugged and assaulted her. A few days later, yet another woman filed claims against him, accusing him of 4 separate assaults between the mid-90s and early 2000s. Battery, abuse, the whole pattern was repeating. And then came another one. Diddy was hit with a 12th lawsuit, this time for allegedly drugging and arcing another woman. That made 12 lawsuits in just a few months since Cassie stepped forward. Why so many at once? Well, it wasn't a coincidence. New York passed something called the Adult Survivors Act, a law that gave adults who were abused as far back as decades ago a chance to finally take legal action, even if the normal time limit had expired. So when Cassie came forward and this law opened the door, other survivors followed. But just when people thought things couldn't get more intense, boom, it happened. On September 16th, the feds officially arrested Sean "Diddy" Combs. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, he wasn't just being sued anymore. He was being indicted. And in legal speak, that means formal criminal charges were now in motion. Federal prosecutors said Diddy was running his empire like a criminal organization, a RICO-style operation, just like you'd see in mob cases. Here's what they charged him with: racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, transportation with intent to engage in prostitution. Let's break that down. Racketeering means running illegal operations under the disguise of a legit business. Prosecutors say Diddy used his companies, employees, and massive wealth to abuse, threaten, and silence people, all while protecting his image. According to the indictment, Diddy turned Combs Enterprises, his music labels, his fashion brands, and other businesses into part of a system that helped carry out and cover up abuse. The feds claim his inner circle was in on it. Employees, assistants, even business execs helped make the machine run. They say it involved kidnapping, bribery, sex trafficking, forced labor, and obstruction of justice. Now, here's where things go from outrageous to straight-up unbelievable. According to the indictment, Diddy didn't just pressure or manipulate women. Then came one of the wildest parts of the whole case: the freak-offs. The indictment says Diddy set up multi-day freak-off events, where women were forced to perform sex acts with male sex workers while he watched, directed, and filmed. These weren't just quick encounters either. These things reportedly lasted days. And to keep the women going, prosecutors say he pumped them with drugs, then gave them IV fluids to help them recover. Yes, IV fluids. Like they were coming off a hospital stay. When the feds raided his homes, they reportedly found everything you'd expect, and some stuff you wouldn't. Over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Yep, 1,000. That part instantly went viral online. People joked, but the bigger takeaway? The scale of what Diddy was allegedly doing is horrifying. They also found firearms, ones he allegedly used to threaten women into silence. And let's not forget, the indictment says this kind of behavior dates all the way back to 2008. That's nearly 2 decades of alleged abuse, manipulation, and cover-ups. And if you're wondering how serious this is, keep in mind these are federal charges, and when the U.S. government builds a case, it's no joke. Federal prosecutors in the U.S. have a conviction rate of over 95%. That means if they've indicted you, they're probably bringing the receipts. They even said they seized electronic recording devices during the raid, hinting at possible audio and video evidence to support the claims. At the press conference, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams didn't hold back. He said, "Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice. And let me be clear, we're not done." He also encouraged anyone with information to come forward, fast. And it's not just about Diddy anymore. Prosecutors believe he had help. The indictment mentions unnamed associates, people who either helped carry things out or knew what was happening and said nothing. There's even a law for that: misprision of a felony. In simple terms, if you know someone committed a serious crime and you keep it secret, you could go to jail too. That means anyone who was around Diddy, worked for him, or stayed quiet while abuse was happening could face charges of their own. Since the arrest, Diddy has been denied bail more than once. He's reportedly been placed on suicide watch, and he's now sharing a cell with Sam Bankman-Fried, the crypto king turned federal prisoner. Yeah, that guy. And through all of this, Diddy's lawyer is still pushing the "he's innocent" narrative. He says Diddy's just a fighter who's going to prove his innocence. He even tried to explain the massive stash of baby oil with a line that felt more like a stand-up joke. I mean, there's a Costco down the street. Americans buy in bulk. Seriously? Right now, here's what we know. Diddy has at least 11 lawsuits filed against him. He settled one, Cassie's, and he's currently under indictment for everything from sex trafficking and racketeering to kidnapping, bribery, and forced labor. And while some names have been redacted from the lawsuits, or removed, like Lucian Grange, there's still a question hanging in the air. Who else knew? Who else was involved? And who might be next? Because while there are still rumors swirling about who joined Diddy in these freak-offs, or who helped him cover things up, what we're seeing now are real legal accusations, backed by multiple victims and the U.S. government. Or, as legal commentator Bruce Rivers said, "Diddy, there's a freight train coming, and you're tied to the tracks. Your lawyer? He's got a chisel, a blowtorch, and a box of tools. But none of it's gonna save you now. That train is the U.S. government, and it's not stopping anytime soon."